Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at thedove.us. Well, welcome back. Delight to have in the studio with us former State Senator Jason Atkinson, our oldest son, turned movie producer and fly fisherman instructor. Does all kinds of things. But we want to talk about this movie. Jason, congratulations. I understand it will be officially launched this weekend.
We premiere Saturday at the Ashland Film Festival, which is great. I didn't anticipate we would do that locally, but the fact that we are is fitting. The first screening sold out in an hour. And so Ashland added a second screening, which I believe there's still a few seats left on Monday. I think if you go on their website, you can get them. But so there's a few seats left on Monday. And then we do a tour with it in the Northwest, which will be fun, and then hopefully followed by one on the East Coast. And then it rolls out nationally this summer.
All right. Now, for those who don't, the name of the movie, the title of the movie is A River Between Us. And why? Why did you do it? What's the purpose of this film?
Well, it's kind of, you know, I've always said the very worst radio interviews I've ever done are with you, because you already know most of the answers to the questions. But so I guess we're playing along for the audience. Yeah. But the purpose of the film, I guess the best way to look at it is more like the film Supersize Me. So there were all of these reports that said that supersized fast food would kill you. There were all of these lobbyists that were supporting the fast food industry. And there was all of these lobbyists and special interest groups that were trying to get people to pass laws to quit doing fattening food on children and all this big controversy. Well, a guy makes a film, and a week later, McDonald's pulls it from the menu. And I said, you know, that's an interesting topic, because that approach has never happened before on natural resource issues, on social justice issues, dealing with tribal nations, with things in the West. You have to remember, while we live on the West, most people in the Midwest or the East Coast don't know anything about cowboys or Indians or farmers or where does their fish come from. They just don't. It's just, we are the West. We're the Wild West. And so the stereotypes that people on the East Coast have about us on the West Coast largely are true. And so what I did is, after 20 years of working behind the scenes on the resolution of the Klamath River, which is the largest restoration project in American history, that is the coming together of very diverse people groups to do something truly amazing. I employed using film as a way to shape culture, shaping culture as a way to get politics to respond to that, to get the ultimate result. For all the years I've been in public life, it's been take an issue, go through politics to get a cultural result. Film was a way for me to do it the other way.
It started out as a movie about the Klamath River and what it could be done to the river, because our family is personally tied to that river for generations. But to fix the river, that was kind of the term, fix the river. And that was part of you looking at the Klamath River and a big motivation. But in the process, you found out there were people involved.
Well, the problem I had with the story, and it was the same problem I had with being in politics, was that I knew too much. I was the white, or am the white, Republican elected in the northern part of the river, who is, you know, 100% with all the farmers. And I'm also the guy that knew all of the tribal nations and had relationships for years downriver. And what we had in Oregon is people looked at the Klamath as an Oregon problem, which it's not. And then people in California, largely Sacramento, can't find the place on the map. So what you do is you have a whole bunch of people groups that are completely abandoned by their government. So this was where there was a push to create a new state. And it was a legitimate push called the state of Jefferson. This is the longest water war in the West. This is the third largest salmon run historically that now is a fraction of that. So you had all of those groups, but just for me, the journey was I knew the people, I knew the story, but what I didn't know is that, and the reason why people respond so powerfully to this film is it really is the Beatitudes. I didn't know that, and now I do.
And the Beatitudes in particular, the one Beatitude, blessed are the peacemakers, and I think that's pretty evident when you see this film. We have a trailer, and you set the trailer up. This is kind of a capsule of what this is all about.
Well, the trailer shows what a trailer is supposed to do, a snapshot of the film. The trailer will show how big it is. I am pleased to tell you that the trailer shows the quality of it. Mm-hmm. This isn't a video. This is a full-blown national documentary. I think the other thing that the film or the trailer shows is that we didn't make something regionally. We made something that works for people who take a subway to work, something that plays well in New York City or South Carolina or a place that doesn't know anything about the West. So I think with that, we'll show the trailer.
I think the other thing is I want to say here, this is a documentary, and this isn't something you're going to see one time. This is a tool that's going to be used to bring about a significant change in the Pacific Northwest. But let's take a look at this trailer.
I'm down with Clavin! Bring the salmon home! I'm down with Clavin! Bring the salmon home!
The Klamath River Basin stands to become the largest river restoration project in the United States history. Bigger than the Everglades, bigger than anything we've attempted before.
There are communities hanging on by a thread. We have got to have some stability.
Anybody who's been seriously involved in water issues in this basin has received death threats.
Anyone that could kill and murder hundreds of thousands of fish didn't belong here.
It's neighbor against neighbor that really breaks my heart.
The federal government put them up the river and they created this whole community based on water, and that's a high desert.
They were not here, neither were the coho.
Look at the tribal legends.
Oh, screw the tribal legends.
I think that they still see this as a win for the Indians. I think that scares them.
Well, I think there's racism in this country. I think there's racism in the world. I think the Valley is reflective of that.
No more of this red tape. We say it's white tape.
I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat or Tea Party or progressive or green. I don't care. Fix this issue.
No one did anything wrong. It's that these decisions all made sense at the time that they were made, but the problem is they overallocated the basin and created bitter disputes.
People don't even think about, what am I living on? Whose back am I living on?
A dozen different ways to make power, but there's only one Klamath River, and there's only one salmon run that God made.
Because you are praying for the wrong thing. You're praying for the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You're not praying for the right thing.
I truly believe that when the river is restored, we will see our people heal.
I can't in good conscience go back to that other place. I can't do it.
I really do think that if we can succeed in the Klamath Basin, we can succeed anywhere.
Well, there you go. A documentary produced by Jason Atkinson, narrator, producer, writer, originator of this film called A River Between Us. all right, there's a lot of dynamics with all of this on the river. You got fishermen, you got farmers, you got power companies, you got miners, you got all those dynamics. And the film shows that there may have been a break in those relationships. And if that matures, where do you want this to go?
Well, I think originally the name of the film was Why the Klamath Matters, and the answer is because the story reflects who we all are as Americans. If we do nothing, that's who we are. If we stay divided, that's who we are. If we do something big again, that's who we are. So when we changed the name of the film, obviously to a better title, the output has always been, the goal has always been the same. The Klamath River and all of those issues really are a larger metaphor for the country. And so what I hope happens is, obviously, I hope that we get resolution on this issue here in the region. But what we've already found with our limited screenings is that people see this as a model to do it in other parts of the world. So we've got, I had a guy call a couple weeks ago, and he wants to use this as a template in Thailand, and I got called from Georgia. So all of those things are great, but what I really hope happens is that people who see the film see people who are moved by it. All of the particulars in the film are really the metaphor to, can Americans be big again? Can you accomplish big things again? And what happens if you live the Beatitudes in your life? Okay. Can you do anything big?
There is a spiritual element to this, and leading up to that, and I want you to certainly explain that. But before I take a break, is the overall problem with the Klamath River is the allocation of the water? Is that it? That's what everybody thought it was. Okay. So what's the overall problem?
People.
Okay.
And the fact that you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and when that ratio gets flipped around, bad things happen.
All right, so where does the Beatitudes come in? We'll share that with you when we come back. And again, it's called A River Between Us. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and special guest today is my oldest son, Jason Atkinson, former state senator and now movie producer. He's produced a film. You've been at it, what, 4 years, almost 5 on this deal?
Going on 5.
Raised his own money, did a project, deals with the whole issue of the Klamath River and all of the people who are involved. It's entitled A River Between Us. It'll debut at the Ashland Film Festival this coming weekend. And there is still some tickets available for the second showing on Monday, so you may want to go to the Ashland Film Festival website and see if you can grab one of those. The first showing sold out like that. And this is the beginning of the launch of the film that will go nationwide. And I asked you the question when we went into the break. It appears everybody thought the issue on the Klamath River was that the government over-allocated the water. But what came as a result of that was the division of the people. Mm-hmm. And the movie now deals with, can that be healed? Can those people come back together? That brings in very much a spiritual element, a biblical element, the Beatitudes. Tell us about that.
Well, we tried to, my direction for the team the whole time was make this matter to someone that takes a subway to work. Because there's so many different choirs that you can preach to here. You can preach to the environmental choir, you can preach to the Tea Party choir, you can preach to the political choir, you can preach to there's 1,000 choirs that want you to tell their side. Mm-hmm. And I said, none of those are as important as people that don't care. If you want to affect culture, go to people who don't care, don't go to your choir. So we make this matter to someone that rides a subway to work. And so as we were on this very long tour shooting, we were down at the mouth of the Klamath, and we were working our way up, and we're seeing old friends, and we're doing interviews, and everything has fallen apart, and every reservation we had is no longer working, and the batteries are dying, and it's all the production of the production of the production. And my guys are tired, and they've been doing nothing but drinking Red Bull and, all that. So you shoot in the morning when the light's perfect, you shoot in the evening, and during the day you stress out. And then it hit me very hard one afternoon during that trip about why are people reacting? How come I do an interview and turn around and see that everybody who's on the set is crying? Why are people crying? So my film guys don't know anything about politics or fish or rural West or any of that. Why are they crying when I'm talking to a cowboy? Why? Well, the answer is what they're seeing being lived out. So I think you've got a couple of clips left. You have the Beatitudes clip, I think, and those are for our national campaign. We're going to show them here before we put them out virally. And then the other one, my favorite answer, which we couldn't even use in the film, was one of those interviews we did with a friend of mine named Kurt Thomas. And when I get done with that interview, I turn around and everybody behind me, all the film grips, all of the whole team is crying and trying not to let their crying get on the microphone. Why is that? That's the key question.
Let's do the first one, the Beatitude one first, and this kind of sets it up for the one that you won't see in the film. So let's do the Beatitude one.
When we started the film, I knew we were making a national film. I wanted to make a people film about this notion, if you heal these people, they will heal this river, which in turn is the largest conservation project ever attempted in our history. And with the belief that these people are the very best in America and represent the very best in America. Well, those are pretty high notions. But what I didn't know, starting that I know now, is that we really made a film about the Beatitudes, and we were watching people live that out. Blessed are the peacemakers, those who mourn, those who show mercy, those who are humble. They start inheriting multi-generational issues, and they heal at the end by playing out the Beatitudes. And when we realized that, we realized we were sitting on something far bigger than a fish movie, far bigger than a river movie, far bigger than something that's in a documentary. We were actually watching people heal.
Did they know they were healing? Because I think
No, they're so exhausted
from defending their side.
So exhausted. Their politicians have let them down. Their politicians have played on fear. Anybody who has stepped the line over to love their neighbor has been shunned. Either politically, socially, at the supermarket, even at church, because these lines have been so drawn for the last 3 or 4 generations. So people are exhausted. When we show the film, when we brought a bunch of folks together who were in the film, and we brought the Governor Kulongoski and Governor Brown together. We had a private screening a month ago in Portland. And for some people, this was the first time they had seen the finished film. And then it brings some influencers, we're starting this rollout. People saw themselves on the screen. Kulongoski and Brown, when the film's over, lead this standing ovation, and I turn around and I look at the people the cast members who were there, and they're all crying, which is apparently why, I don't know why we're not sponsored by Kleenex, but you can see a huge sense of relief because now they were able to put it all together. So it's interesting.
Let me see if I can get into this last piece because I think it's important. Set this up real quickly, the last video.
Kurt Thomas, good friend of mine, probably the best lit, best shot, best interview that we couldn't use. He does look like the Marlboro Man. He's a wonderful guy, and I asked him a question he couldn't answer.
All right, take a look.
I actually lost count of how many interviews we did. I don't know I know we got close to 80. Maybe we did more than that. But hands down, I think my favorite one was when we interviewed Kirk Thomas. It was great. It was fun. It was very smart. It's a perfect night. Everything was perfect. But the last question that I asked him about what does he want his legacy to be? Maybe what does he want his legacy to be to his great-grandchildren who he might not ever meet? And his answer, to this day, it really gets to me. It's very soulful. It's very powerful. It's very. I wish we could have used it in the film somewhere, but as I look back, I know that's my favorite quote of all the interviews that we did. My son's the old man, and your great-grandkids have been handed this thing. What do you want them to say about you?
Ooh. Ooh. That's a hard one. I guess that I did this, that I taught them to love it, and that I protected it, and that they're also husbands of it, that it's not theirs, that legacy is not one of ownership, it's one of, because they'll have other opportunities to create and change. But they can't look back at me and say he failed to do what he could. I guess that's what I'd want him to say.
Well, we've touched all around this film. It gets released Saturday. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And what's next? I mean, what do you want this to do? What's the ultimate goal of this film?
Well, I guess I've always wanted to be in the movies, so the way to begin the movies is to make your own movie and put yourself in it. So I don't know what the next, hopefully something good career-wise will come out of this. But 3 weeks ago, the Interior Secretary of the United States saw the film and was, I'm told by multiple folks, was moved by it. There is a political solution that, as hard as I've worked on the film, we're working on getting that completed under the old model that you can accomplish anything if you give the credit away.
Yeah.
So that is a life of its own. I hope that the film generates a tremendous amount of cultural shift so we can move away from this lawsuit model of settling differences, especially here in the West. And frankly, I hope there's a lot of folks who, rightfully so, have hard feelings that are able to heal.
All right, we're out of time, but let me ask you this. Is there a website for the film?
ariverbetweenus.com.
ariverbetweenus.com.
And Facebook and all that, so join the campaign as we roll it out across the country.
Well, when will it be available for the average Joe?
I'm working on that. There'll be a theatrical, probably some theatrical runs, and then probably early fall, I'm hoping that it'll be out for the whole country.
All right. ariverbetweenus.com. Check it out. Join the campaign. I think you'll be moved deeply by it. Well, congratulations. It gets launched this weekend at the Ashland Film Festival. And then from there, I guess you're on a tour to get it going.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you next time on Focus Today.